while since we've done another book talk, and I'm actually really excited because, guys, I have so many thoughts about this book. But first, currently I'm drinking green tea. I try to find like the most like witchy like inspired mug. I am so excited to talk to you about this book, Heartless Hunter. Guys, I love this book. Now, it's YA. I am not one of those people that's like, oh, it's YA, I shouldn't read, because I loved YA. I have moved away from a lot of YA recently. It wasn't really for me anymore. So sometimes when I go back into the YA world, I'm really hesitant because sometimes books just read YA. This does read very YA, but it's entertaining. When I went into this book, I was not expecting the next great fantasy book. I knew what I was getting into, and I think because of that, I loved it. I think because it was YA, I loved it. Because one thing I love about sometimes I've noticed in YA books and compared to other books, and this is just my opinion, I find there's a deeper connection with characters in YA books than there are with other books. So this book is very character driven, which I love. I love character driven books. There isn't a lot of world building, which I'm okay with. I am not a big world builder person because sometimes I think it can overcomplicate things. I think really in this book, the most important thing to know is being a witch is bad. It could get you killed. Like, it's not good to be a witch. And we know enough of the backstory to know why. For me personally, just when I read books and the author spends so much time world building, I lose interest. Like, you look at The Hobbit. Tolkien spent like the first 50 pages describing the Hobbit hole, and I was like, I can't do this. So that's what I'm just saying. So, but let's talk about this book. So we have our main character. Her name is Rune, and she is a witch in disguise, kind of hiding, but her main goal is to save other witches from being purged, and she is known as the Crimson Moth. But no one really knows it's her, and she has a team of people that help her, friend Verity, and then Alex. And then we have our other perspective, Gideon, and he is the witch hunter. So this was enemies to lovers, but honestly, I would really just say it was a enemies to kind of lovers back to enemies. Like, I actually really like this, and I really like how the author did this, because sometimes one of my biggest pet peeves about the enemies to lovers is that it might be a series, and the author at the end of the book makes them lovers suddenly, like, you know, like the enemies portion is gone, now they like each other. And then what also started to ruin it, and then we find out, well, the main character actually really liked this person the entire time. And it's like, it kind of takes away. This one, I really liked it because I think of seeing Gideon's perspective, we really got to see the struggle he had with, hey, I kind of like her, but if she's a witch, I can't. And then the, okay, yes, I do like her, but wait, actually is a witch, so therefore I don't like her. And I really think the author did such a good job with this one because I felt like I'm actually rooting for the characters. Now, would I say I was like, oh my gosh, Team Gideon? No, like, I liked Gideon. I was like rooting for him with Rune, but I wasn't like drawn to either person because there is a love triangle in this book between Gideon and Alex, who is his brother, and then Rune. Okay, people say it's a love triangle. I would not personally say it's much of a love triangle because for a while there, Rune was really just friend zoning Alex. Like, Alex liked Rune, but Rune was just friend zoning Alex. And I would say even at the end, when she decided to go to him, I felt like that was more, I'm settling. I don't know. Like I said, so this book was pretty fast-paced read. It was very like, kept me on the edge of the seat. Like, it was easy to read. It wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna read, and then, okay, I'll just put it down. Like, some of it just like sucked me in. Like, I mean, it was like 2 in the morning and I was still reading this book. And then I was like mentally dead in the office the next day trying to get work done. Like, guys, I'm not gonna lie. During my lunch break, I went out to my car and read this book. So one thing about this book I will say was kind of a downer was I wish there was more scenes of her as the Crimson Moth. There's a lot of talking in this book, which, like I said, the romance in it was beautiful. Like, it was beautiful. I loved the romance in this book. But if you really looked at the core plot of her being the Crimson Moth, there's really nothing. We get one scene in the middle where Gideon sets a trap for her, and like, that's really the only part we ever see of Rune being the Crimson Moth. We really just see her pretending like the part of the socialite. So I wish there was more. Another thing with this book too was the whole point of this book was leading up to it was to free Seraphina, who was captured because Rune's grandmother told her to go see Seraphina. While I love what the author did, and we'll talk more about the end, I just didn't like it how we really never even got to the heights. It was like, this is a plan, and then it was thwarted, and then this whole ending took place, but never once was there ever a, we're gonna try to break Seraphina out. So I'm like, it makes sense now why the author didn't spend a lot of time explaining the plan to go break her out, but I was like, but this was all there. It was our emotion. Like, I don't know, I felt like maybe if it was they were caught or something, I don't know. But at the same time, I really did like how the author ended it, so let's go to that now. So, it was the eve of the heist, and Rune and her friends, they were gonna disguise themselves as blood guards. They had a key to the prisons, like she had her vial of blood, like she was gonna go. They were all set, and then the next morning, Rune realizes half the stuff is missing. Verity is missing. We'll talk about it later, but I was not surprised on Verity. I kind of knew. I knew. Probably almost halfway, less than halfway in. Meanwhile, after Rune has discovered all this is missing, she also notices how Gideon has left her all like these flowers and everything else. So Rune, who's like, she's over Gideon now, like, so she's like, no, she's with Alex now, decides, well, I'm gonna go tell him in person. And so when she gets there to Gideon's place, it's really just a one big elaborate trap to prove how she's a moth. Like, he has the coin, he has the blood, like, he has all the evidence against her, and Rune is then arrested, and she's about to be purged. Okay, guys, at this point in the book, I was like, what? And then Alex comes in and he's like saying how like he was assisting the Crimson Moth. Guys, I'm gonna insert this clip here because I want to film my reaction when it was like still fresh and new. So guys, I'm reading this book right now. For the longest time, I was like, okay, it's a fun book. It's dramatic. Guys, I wanted to record my actual thoughts for when I film a video talking about this boiler. So it was just the part where Rune is discovered to be the Crimson Moth. And then Alex basically shouts how he knew. And I stopped reading at that point because I'm like, oh, I think a whole lot of bad is about to happen. Like, there's this part where like, okay, there's only 20 pages left. I feel like there's a cliffhanger. I've heard people say the ending has destroyed them, and so my brain is going in one direction, and I'm really hoping the author does not choose to go in that direction. I've yelled at this book a few times. I just feel a whole lot of feelings right now. I'm gonna need a moment, but I see how this is going. Okay, I see where this is going, and I'm not liking it. And there's this part where I'm like, if I just stop reading now, it could be like Schrodinger's cat. Like, the characters are both dead and alive at the same time, and I never would need to know unless I finished the book. Like, I almost finished this book last night, and I'm quite glad I waited till the morning to try to finish this. But y'all, this is how I'm starting my Saturday out. Oh, there's a whole lot of feelings right now. Guys, I feel bad for my neighbors because I was yelling at them. I was like, I was like, what the heck? Like I said, was this all predictable? Yes. Did it really have nothing to do with the heist? Also, yes. But was I enjoying it? Yes. I think I was also waiting just for some redemption of Gideon. Like, at one point, Gideon's gonna be like, what the heck am I doing? Yes, she's the Crimson Moth, but I also believe she's a good person. And then, nope. That never happened. I mean, it was like going from like 0 to 100 real quick. We find out Verity is Cress. And I mean, this wasn't a real shock. I kind of guessed it. I saw it coming. So, continuing in this, guys, I feel like we're kind of all over the place, but I'm going to edit it and hopefully this all makes sense. So, like I said, the whole thing is happening now. Rune has just been arrested. She's going to be purged. Oh, hi there, boo-boo. So, like I said, we find out Cress is still alive. This was actually really interesting because Gideon sees this as like, Rune has betrayed him. She's been in league with Cress this entire time, but Rune is just as shocked as everyone else. Let's talk about one part of the book. When Cress aimed the gun at Gideon and Alex jumped in front of Gideon. Now granted, did I know Alex was probably gonna die? Yes. Guys, from the first few chapters, I was like, best friend trope, he's gonna die. Like, just, there was something about his character, it was just like there. So when Alex kind of turned himself in, saying like, you know, he's been aligned with the Crimson Moth, I was like, oh my goodness. Like, it was kind of like the, I don't want to read anymore, but I need to keep reading also. And then kind of the whole Rune was able to escape. So I thought, okay, we're good. Everyone is gonna live. This is fine. We're fine. And then Alex jumps in front of Gideon and Alex dies. I'm not gonna lie. There was a part of me during the stages of grief who was in denial a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Some people are saying like, oh, it was such an easy way out for the love triangle. I don't know. Like I said, I really don't think there was a love triangle per se because I think Rune was really just settling with Alex. She loved Alex, but she kind of friend zoned him. And that's one thing I think the author did really good is giving Gideon his backstory. It wasn't just, oh, he just disliked witches because they're bad. bad. No, he had reasons to dislike witches. He had personal trauma with witches. And then now that Alex is gone, now he has further reason to hate Rune. Because I think as a reader, we sit there and we know Gideon's kind of personal feelings and we know Rune's feelings. So you're just like, let's just get through the miscommunication. But really it's not miscommunication because Rune now believes Gideon used her. But now Gideon has now attached his other trauma to Rune, and so there we are. So I actually think the author did really good with building these tensions. So the scene where Gideon basically told Rune like, hey, I know you're the Crimson Moth. I kept thinking in my head, I don't know why, but the song The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived was just like playing in my head as I read that scene. I don't know, was anybody else there? I'm very interested to see because so Rune uses Alex's blood to basically cast a spell to save them from the revolutionaries to try to get away. Now, does that mean, because even though Alex is dead, she did technically use his blood without permission, so does this mean now Rune is going to become corrupt? I did though read what the second book's about, and it does sound like Gideon and Rune do have to team up a little bit, so it's going to be interesting to see because I think we're still in the enemy stage. Like I said, I think the author actually did really good with enemies for lovers because it didn't just go, they're enemies and they liked each other and life's good now. No, they started to like each other, but there was still that constant struggle. Yes, at the end, Gideon was like, yeah, I really like her because I now think she's not a witch, but there was still that constant struggle because he knew how Alex felt about her. So I really did like the tension there. I am interested to see how Rune is going to react in the second book because she now knows who Cress really is. She knows what Cress has done. And so now Rune has to kind of now navigate that. And I think it's really going to be interesting how Rune has to now kind of persuade to Gideon that no, she was not in league with this witch the entire time. She had no idea. It was a good book. Like I said, there was a few plot holes. Like I said, I think we needed to see the Crimson Moth a little bit more in action because I think the author's trying to say like, oh look, she's like this tough character. But really, I don't know. Like she was kind of just playing a part the entire time, I felt. I actually really did enjoy the book. It was an easy read. It was quick. It was a fun book to read. But it was just such a fun book. I felt the emotions. I can't wait till February when the second book comes out. I was surprised it was only a duology, but I think it makes sense. I feel like a book like this really wouldn't need to go on for more. I kind of hoping maybe some things that weren't really explained in the first book will be explained in the second book more. I'm still in denial about Alex, but that's just that. Like I said, when I read his character, I was like, he's gonna die. And guys, I really don't get too upset about fictional characters' death because oftentimes the character authors kill, I'm just like, okay. I mean, sometimes it's sad. Like, sometimes I'll be like, oh, I liked him. But this one, guys, I yelled at my book. Would I recommend this book? Absolutely. Like I said, I think it was fun. There was a few parts of it I was like, ugh. But I'm not going to talk about those ones. But I was like, but guys, like I said, I really like this book. Would I say, like, I'm shipping Gideon and Rune? No, but I really like the characters. Like, I don't know, it's a fun book to read. I would say it's a fun book to read when you want to read fantasy, but you don't want to read anything too deep or too heavy. Read that book. That was my thoughts. I know I feel like I was just all over the place, but again, guys, I really liked this book. It was such a fun book to read. I'm starting Blood and Ash next, so I can't wait to read that one. But guys, thank you for joining me today. I will see you next time. Bye!